time. Okay, is everybody ready? I will call this meeting to order. Do you have Jim available?
Kim, can you hear us?
Yes,
Well, are you there?
yes, I am.
Oh, good. Okay, welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
You have to. And then first reading.
Okay, I'm calling this meeting to order. Our first item of business is approving the minutes from the previous meeting, which goes all the way back to June 26th. Have you had a chance to read it?
No.
Oh.
It's on under your item.
Go into item one. Yeah. Go ahead and take a quick look at that.
Yeah.
You.
I have read it and I approve.
Okay. I'll put your signature on it, Jim.
Okay,
That's gonna be I see no issues with it. I approve as well.
Okay. All right, then we'll go on to the item 2, which is the precinct change order.
So this is just a housekeeping type of order for the election commission. The election commission is designated to create the precincts. However, we really do this in conjunction with the county clerk's office, since they maintain the voter registration and assign in voters to the proper precincts. So we had 2 precincts in the city of Fayetteville that exceeded over 3,000 registered voters. So that automatically requires us to do a split for those 2 precincts. And then over the course of the previous year, we've had annexations either by the cities calling this election or just by naturally, you know, getting close to a piece of land surrounding it and then doing an annexation. So Becky has contracted with Data Scout, which is the company that does all our precincts and our mapping and all of that to do basically this big cleanup build for us. And so that way we're in compliance with especially the 2 Fayetteville precincts. And then we clean up the annexation areas. So this would be for the commission, and I have a copy for the commission to sign. But I would need your approval of these, and you can see in here, there's descriptions of the actual precincts, there's maps, and then of course, there's a written description. Once this gets signed by the election commission, then it goes to the state GIS. So that kind of all of our maps, all are the same.
Is there anything in this several sheets that you want to highlight?
There's, if you look at exhibit G, which is on page 5. This is an example of where we've had to split. Basically, it was old Fayetteville 40, and now that Fayetteville 40 has been split so that we're within compliance of the registered voters. And it's registered voters, not just people who live in the area. So now we've created a new precinct, Fayetteville 68, out of half of that Fayetteville 40.
Okay.
So, but there isn't, like I said, this is mostly a cleanup of the maps, which is important to do.
Right.
Especially going
And this is
into-
the good year to do it.
It is, because it took time, to do this, and Data Scout did a very thorough job of going through. There's so many little annexations that happen that, you know, we're not fully aware of until the city passes it, and it could just be a tiny little sliver of land. This is cleaning up all those precincts, border lines. So we will go through and do a cleanup, depending on the scope of it. We're required when there's 3,000, so that we will monitor that process as we go through the year. However, when you're talking about the 3,000 registered voters, it has, I think it's 180 days. You can't do before an election, so it's like all of a sudden, if we get within 60 days of the general election, and we notice that there are precincts that have over 3,000 registered voters in them, we're not required to just go in and try and split out those precincts. So there are some guidelines for when you do it, and this is a great opportunity for us to do a big cleanup like this, for us.
Do we have any other districts that are close to pushing that 3,000?
No, that was one of the things that, Becky and I did when we were looking to
Mhm.
see if there was anything that was close. And so I think
We should be
we're
okay.
good. And like I said, there is that cutoff mark that you are required to do it, which
Right.
is super helpful because you don't want, because, people will start to get registered to vote a month before the election.
That's true,
where you see
yeah.
Big voter registration drives and you see all of that. So it allows for you to just finish that election, get all of that done before you have to go in.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Any other ones?
Just the two Fayetteville ones, and like I said, the other ones are really just cleanups
Yeah.
from annexations. But you'll see there are quite a few
Mhm.
annexations.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, depending on the outcome of this November 18th election, we'll have to go in and do SUS level. Okay, for that, area, if that passes. Yes, it's not, yes,
It's now and what it's like.
yes.
Or approved.
Okay, any discussion on this? Jim, you got any comments? See there? Alexis, any comments?
No, I appreciate you guys taking the initiative. This can't be an easy process, and as many maps that I see, I completely understand why it was given to another company to make sure nothing is missed, so we do the bulk of it, so I just appreciate the thoroughness of it.
Yeah.
And you bring it to our attention.
Yeah, they did a really nice job of doing it. Now, Becky's job will be to make sure all those voters are now put in the proper precinct. But as we've had annexations, she has always been moving the people into the appropriate, we just haven't tweaked the line. So voters have always been getting the appropriate ballots. The other nice thing about this program, Data Scout, that we have is in the mapping side of it, when we're looking at the precincts, it shows you little dots of every registered voter.
Yeah.
So you can pull up a precinct and it shows all the registered voters. If they're green, then that means that they are in the proper precinct assigned properly. If they show up red, that's like you can see it. And we can go in and look at those individual dots, basically, which represent a registered voter or a home, and figure out, oh, we've got them assigned to the wrong precinct. And a lot of times it is, you can have someone's property where their driveway
Oh,
is
yeah.
in one precinct, but their house is in another precinct. So sometimes you have to go in and like manually look and make a decision. Okay, the house is in this precinct, the driveway is in this one, so you go to the house.
The house
So we
is
wanna.
a determining factor.
Exactly, and so that's sometimes why you see those red dots, but it is a really nice program that the county clerk has that has all these tools to make sure voters are staying in the right precincts.
I probably made an error. We need to have a motion on this.
I'm so sorry.
So, since Jim's not here, I'm just thinking, well, it's both of us. But we did sign it, but go ahead and make a motion
I made a motion to approve the precinct order cleanup.
as shown. And I will second it, and I'm sure Jim will too, but he does not get to vote since he's not with us. So, all in favor? Aye. Nobody's opposed, so it will be done. Okay. Next item is the required training that we have to do.
So, this is, there are 3 different types of training that the Secretary of State, or the Secretary of State and State Board of Election Commissioners required. The first one is the coordinator training, which will occur the week of October 6th through the 11th. And part of the rules for that is that the commission has to appoint a coordinator to attend. I have assumed hopefully that you would appoint me to go. But we do need a formal, your signature designating that I am the person appointed to attend the coordinator training.
Okay.
So, I didn't mark down here which day that I'll be there. I actually will be there the full week.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
So, the first day is for the bigger counties. And then the counties that have more full-time coordinators, and then I'll stay in some panel for
Okay.
the rest of the week.
You got a busy week coming up that week.
So, yes.
Okay, so do we need a motion on this, or just a signature?
It doesn't specify, so I don't think a motion.
Okay, go ahead. Unless you've got any questions. Jim, do you have any questions on that?
I'm good with that. If you need me to make a motion, I'll do it.
No, I don't, I think we're gonna not have a motion, just approval. Cause it's
Okay.
real
I'm good.
simple.
And then, thank you for going to that, and I look forward to, the panel, like you said, all the massive questions.
So it is, you have 75 counties and you have 75 different levels of coordinators' responsibilities. In the sense, some counties, the commissioner operates as the coordinator. Some counties, county employee in the county clerk's office operates as the coordinator. Some are part-time, some are full-time. So it is, it's a mix of counties. So it's always a good week and it's always a good opportunity to learn and go over what we are looking at.
Well, it's a good time for you to connect with the other counties as well.
Yes, and we do view it that way. I mean, we're a unique, there's 75 of us across the state, that's it. So it is nice to be able to have that connection with the other counties and rely on one another. I know that specifically here in Northwest Arkansas, we always work so closely with Kim, who's our
Yeah,
coordinator
right.
in Benton County, and then of course the new coordinator in Sebastian County, Amanda. We always are in communication with one another, and it is nice to have that connection. So, yeah, so.
Is Kim gonna be down there all week?
No, she will be
Okay.
there for October the 6th.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then October 14th is the commissioners training. That is a required training. Obviously, if you can't make that day, there are other days. An email went out.
I saw it.
Did you
haven't
did it?
responded
Okay,
yet?
was it? Okay. And so that will have, I didn't know how they start.
I think it said 9:30.
Okay, so I'll follow up. It was here. It's here. It'll be in the sheriff's minutes.
Are we gonna be able to get into the sheriff's office?
So I think we may have to put out a thing about parking and carpooling, and people can park here, we can
Yeah,
bring people
yeah.
over if necessary. So, yeah, so
And then you park in front of the library.
you can, or you could park here and we can take people over, or, yeah, so we'll coordinate.
It's at 9:30.
And they're usually about 60 or so.
Yeah.
I think that so, yeah.
And all day, right?
Yes, I will coordinate with the SBEC about how we do lunch. Typically, we order in lunch and then everyone pays for their lunch and we eat, and they take like a short 30-minute break to kind of eat, and then they go right back into it. So, yeah.
And is that open to the public or is that?
No, it's just for the commissioners. It's just considered training. So, yes, so.
And then you've got train the trainer.
The train the trainer, that is where so the coordinator training is focusing on the type of things that we are doing. at this moment in this meeting. The train the trainer is focused on training poll workers. And so we'll get a form where you'll appoint, me and one other person as the trainer, so that we can, do that. That'll be here as well. That'll be December the 2nd. And then every poll worker that works is required to attend training before the primary election, and they're required to attend training, by someone who's been certified as a,
Okay. Okay, any further questions on that or discussions? Okay, we'll move on to new election rules, and there must not be any because I see a,
no, if you look, I know.
I didn't go far enough, did I?
If you look under tab A is the assisted voter rules. These are still in, and I've got them marked in here where you see like the little pink tab. That's the new part of this voter. They put the assisted voter information for the rulemaking under the voter verification because it kind of ties in with that. And so, an assister, it defines who the assister is, a person named by the voter present. This is the new part, 18 years of age or older, and then presents a document or identification that meets the requirements established. So that part is new, and we've been discussing this is the vote thing. But we haven't had it formally in writing
Yeah.
from the state board. And then the second pink tab on page 10 of that draft is the assessor ID, where it breaks it down and breaks it down into the process of it. So it sets out for someone who does not show ID. That's the main crux of this, is for someone who does not have an ID to show, there is still a way for that individual to assist the person that they came with. We will, of course, be working with the state board because there will be form to fill out. We do have a mechanism to do it through the poll books. Right now, we're still working on the flow of it. The flow that we have in the poll books, and I have one if you guys want to see it, is a little clunky at the moment, but it will work.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to have a proper flow for it, when we get to the primary stage course. So yeah, because
You've got a little bit of time, but
it is something that they're going to have to develop.
yeah.
So yeah, so.
Are you working with ES&S on that?
Yes, and in fact, that is one of the things that we've got this, do you want to grab one of those poll books? If you can grab both of them, it's different, Alexa. If you'll hit search for voter,
Okay.
and then if you'll type in last name Prince.
It's,
Yes, so this is a mock election, and so there are several DC characters and Marvel characters in here. So people select Diana Prince when it pops up. This is something new also in the tablet as well. Did the voter present ID? So this is brand new to our poll workers and the tablets, and you'll select yes.
okay.
And then hit next, because ideally, if the voter hasn't shown ID, they need to go to the supervisor.
Right.
So, you'll hit next. This will be changed to be very specific to Arkansas. It will say Arkansas driver's license.
Good.
But go ahead and select driver's license and then next. And then this is the point where you would ask, say your name, address, all that good stuff, and hit issue standard. And then this screen, and please keep in mind, all of this wording will be updated and
Okay.
changed. It is not what it needs to be at this moment. But you'll hit voter assistant and then hit next. Then this is the screen that will capture the information for the voter. So for instance, Arkansas does not require to give a reason, but this flow is from another state that requires a reason to be given. Our screen, if you'll choose reason, our screen will not have all of this. It will just simply say voter request, but go ahead and hit lack of transportation. If you'll see, it's kind of eye-opening to see what other states do.
Yeah.
Like, these are all reasons in other states that you would need assistance, lack of transportation. I think that's when they're able to take the ballot outside
Oh, that's,
to there's all
Really?
sorts of different rules, but
Wow.
yes. So just hit okay. And then, voter requiring assistance, that's where the voter would sign.
okay.
And then person assisting voter, you would hit enter there. And then the voter is gonna sign an oath as well. And then you have to put in the name and address of the voter. And so to get past the screen, you can just put a letter in each of the required boxes. And then you'll be able to bypass this. And when you get to the zip code, you will have to put in, I think, 6 numbers.
So each one of these assistant name and address fields have to be,
First name,
Entered.
last name, and address.
okay.
So yes,
Do you want to put, I mean,
you can
you want to put an asterisk on those
So-
ones that are required?
that screen, it won't let you advance unless you have those done.
Okay.
And this screen is a static screen. You can't make any changes to it.
Gotcha.
So once all of that's done, then you'll hit next. This where it says board worker number 1 and board worker number 2, that is for that state. They require the poll
Gotcha.
workers to
Yeah.
sign, but because this is in that flow, you would have to make signatures there to advance to the next screen. So, but that would be kind of the flow in the poll book for us to do it rather than filling out a piece of paper.
That's terrific. Aren't there two, I mean, there's that last spot for the signature. Is there one earlier?
Yes, there's one for the
Okay, there's
voter and
two
then,
of them.
yes, there's one for the voter and then for the assistant.
Okay,
So, yeah.
but I thought there were 2 for the sister. I mean, excuse me, 2 for the voter.
That's, yeah.
They might vote before
If-
that time.
So the voter will sign again.
That's what I was
Yes.
thinking, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And obviously, the way the tablet is set up, if the voter isn't requiring assistant, you hit none, and then it just skips all
Oh,
those. Or if our poll workers aren't comfortable processing that through the tablet, you hit none, but then you have to fill out the paperwork. So yes, this allows us also to be able to run reports on a daily basis to see the assessors and all of that.
well, this isn't gonna eliminate our envelopes.
No, that's a provisional
Sure,
process,
provisional.
yes. So that's kind of the assister, and of course, we'll have more information on it.
As they
After we get
develop
the
it.
form, yes. My understanding is they have the form, I should be having this.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
The next one is the ballot remake. Okay, so, and if you'll tab, you'll see there's a little green tab, if you'll tab to that part, it's page 12 of that draft for remakes. All that in red is new. So this now will be located in the rules section for like voter intent. You know, whenever we've had a question of, did the voter really mean to do this or this? They've had rules in place for the commission to kind of determine what was the intent of the voter. So they've added this into that section. This is for duplications of the ballot. The main takeaway from this is we will not be able to duplicate any ballots until the following day.
Right.
It takes 4 election officials to sign off on a ballot. It's not in the rules here, but one of the things that they discussed, and I think they will be changing, it will also require a commissioner to be present as the ballots are being remade. Now, this,
As in like over the shoulder or?
no present.
Okay,
So the way the rule was written is that there should be a supervisor that if the public, because this is all open to the public, so if the public was to attend, now the public won't be standing over our shoulders as we're
Yeah,
setting
that's
things
what-
for them.
that's-
Okay, but the public does have the right to inspect the ballots.
okay.
After they've
the
been,
remake is
after
done.
they've been remade,
Okay.
and remember, these ballots are not assigned to an individual, there's no way that we're
Right.
opening up someone's, you know, secret ballot to the public, these have no markings of who they're from or anything like that, so they still remain a secret ballot. But the public does have the right to inspect. The thought process at first was to have a supervisor that is designated, but they feel that it would be better to actually have a commissioner present.
Okay.
So we'll be asking, whenever we do the remakes we only have to have 1 commissioner present for the remake part. Now, when we get to the portion of the remakes where we have to have determined voter intent, it will take the commission approving as a whole. So we'll have to do our remakes in 2 parts. One where we do the big bulk of the remakes, and we get those kind of knocked out, signed off on, open to the public. Then we'll have remakes that are set aside for the commission to come together to approve. And so we'll talk a little bit about that too, more when we get to the primary and the dates, and then of course for this Greenland election as well. So, but we cannot start this until the day after. So yeah, there's no wiggle room, no procedure for us.
Is that the primary thing that this, I mean, obviously there's procedural, but that's the main thing is doing it 24 hours though.
It is, and the requirement that a commissioner
Right,
be
right.
present.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem is there is so much pressure on commissions to have everything counted election night. And remakes are counted. But there was no allowance for us to be able to do remakes at a later date, like they had to be done election night. So when you have already worked 2 weeks of early vote, 12-hour days, then you get to election day, which is a 15-hour day, and you're trying to knock out all those remakes. Mistakes were made. And there wasn't, you know, some counties had very good setup procedures for doing remakes, and other counties are like trying to get them done, you know, because you're just like under the gun to get them done. So, so this sets it up where you have to do them the next day. Gives you a little bit more time to come back in. In theory, there's nothing else going on, but we all know that that's not the case. We have, well, other things we're having to do the next day, but you'll be able to bring a team in, and that team will be able to do those remakes.
Okay, here's a question. How strict is this no earlier than 24 hours?
Very strict. That is the
Okay.
most strictest part of
Okay.
this whole rule.
Yeah. That's what
Try to do that. Yes, that is the strictest part.
Okay.
Clear about that, I think it's great. You have enough staff in place where you do everything is checked, rechecked, and checked for the commissioners. But I know that not every county has that luxury and they're very short staff. So I think this is where you were trying to say, hey, I already have everybody here, we've got enough stuff to do it. There's some lulls in between
Right.
the boxes being brought to the location to be reviewed, but not everybody has that. So I understand why.
And I think the key takeaway too for the candidates and the public is knowing that for, let's say, the general election. For the general election, we had 900 provisional ballots. And we had at least 300 Uocala ballots, which are mandatory remakes, because they come printed out on a piece of paper that we have.
If you're lucky.
Yes, and sometimes they're itty bitty little pieces of paper and you're trying to figure them out. So for the public and for the candidates to know that there is potential for races that are within 5 votes, 10 votes, that some of these remake ballots and provisional ballots could change the outcome of the election, and that these are not bound ballots. We will release the number of remakes that we'll be doing election night, so the public is fully aware. We also plan on tracking where those precincts are for those remake ballots, so we'll know how many could potentially impact a race. So that definitely is something that, we need the public and the candidates to be aware of too, that the next day there could be a change in the outcome of a race. We had that city of Fayetteville race that was within 10 or 15 votes, and there were 20 plus provisionals
In that
in
particular.
that particular. So,
But we also see that number of people will go down because of some of the other election law changes.
Oh.
So I
Yeah.
think that will be less.
it will depend, but yes, that'll be at least 100. We had 150 of those county to transfers. So yeah, but still quite a few. And then of course, for the Greenland election, and when we get to the notice, I'll talk about the times for us to do remakes. If we have any, it'll be 1 or 2, but it'll kind of give us an idea if we have any, I don't know, well.
Then we could go ahead and have the meetings there, so maybe we got the meetings, then we have to have it.
I'll show when we get to the notice, I'll show you how I kind of am thinking about laying that out. So that we're.
Hey, this is Dr. Pittman. How are
Hang
you?
on a second.
He just. Okay.
And then the next one is the party affiliation change, so that's under tab C. This is, this will impact voters who are registered as a Democrat
In the primary.
in the primary. And who, there must be a dragon.
They're dragging
Yes.
something, oh my gosh.
This will impact voters who are registered as a Democrat and want to request a Republican ballot in the primary. So for Washington County, there's about 10,000 people who are registered as a Democrat. So what will happen for those voters connecting in, and some voters may not even realize that they are registered as a Democrat. Let's say you registered 20 years ago and you're like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Voter view, we say it all the time for every election, voter view is the best tool that you have. It will tell you how you're registered to vote. And if you're thinking that you want to, if you're registered as a Democrat, but want to take a different ballot, Republican ballot, you will have to change your voter registration. This is one of the things we will post at each tablet when the
Yeah.
voters are checking in. Kind of as like, hey, this is, these are the questions you're gonna be asked. These are your ballot options for the primary, because voters sometimes also will mistakenly think a nonpartisan ballot means an independent ballot. And think that they're gonna get all the choices on it. So we have always kind of laid that out, but now we've added this language.
Maybe it would be helpful on the nonpartisan to say this. Is something along the lines of this does not give you. It says it doesn't contain political parties, but if you're thinking because you're an independent, that you get your choice of Democrats or Republicans in the primary, that's not gonna happen.
You don't get both of them.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's, I guess that's what I'm trying to say is, as an independent, some people think they can vote for whoever.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if there's a good way to say that, other than nonpartisan, but
Right, but we're trying to, it's that circular
Yeah,
description of nonpartisan. That's why we say it does not contain political party candidates. They also will be sample ballots as well, so a
Oh,
voter can actually
okay.
look at a sample ballot. And if you pull up the nonpartisan ballot, you'll see
right,
that there is
Okay.
not, but we recognize that is a question.
right.
Obviously, we always have, but, so for those voters, and on your, what does your screens look like on your tablets?
Oh, I'm certain.
Okay.
Okay. Search.
Okay, if you will, type in last name Shepherd. First name Derek, and you should just have to type in SH because it says very few people in it. And if you'll select Derek Shepherd, and then did this person present ID? Yes. And then just hit driver's license next. You'll see here where it says party Democratic. Now, for people who are registered as Republicans, that's where that would show up. And if you're not registered, if you're an independent or never picked a party, it will say nonpartisan out there. But now for our poll workers, they're not gonna be looking at this screen for that information because they're looking at this screen for name, address, and date of birth. We don't necessarily want them looking at this screen for the party affiliation because we don't know which ballot that voter is going to take. And we also run into the question of, we are not asking voters if you're a Democrat or a Republican. We're asking which ballot style you want. So we won't be looking at that, that screen right here, but if you hit issue standard. And then voter, verification hit none. And then next, and then just make a signature there for done signing. And then accept. You'll see that there's a party drop down. When you get to this screen, there'll only be two drop downs, nonpartisan and Democrat. At this point, if the voter says, I would like a Republican, we're gonna ask which ballot style. Once again, not asking which party you belong to, which ballot style. If at this screen, the voter says, I want a Republican ballot, they will then have to go to the supervisor. The supervisor will have the voter fill out that party affiliation change card. We'll call the county clerk's office. The county clerk is able to make the edit on her side. It cannot be edited in the poll book.
Okay,
And then that voter will have the option of voting for Republican ballot. So that's kind of how the process
so
will.
it is gonna be changeable on election day.
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yes, because the way it talks about the registration and there is no time frame. Some states have, you must be registered 30 days before. Of course, this doesn't have a time frame in it, so it does allow for that. Now, granted, we don't have out of 140,000 plus registered voters, there's only about 10,000 registered Democrats, and there's also only about 10,000 registered Republicans. That, you know, most people have always. So this definitely will be something, once again, for voters to go to voter view, look to see, and, you know, depending on what ballot that you're wanting to take, you know, if you can, make the changes before the election, but we will be able to process those voters on election day.
Do we have a sample of a nonpartisan person?
Yes, I believe that, if you go back to Diana Prince.
Oh, okay.
And select drivers, go through that, you'll see she's registered as nonpartisan.
Okay.
And then if you hit issue standard. And then voter assist, capture voter verification, and then some. And so you'll see that there's all three drop downs. Now, a registered Republican will also have all three drop downs. So this sets it up so that our poll workers can't inadvertently
Right,
make a mistake on
Yeah.
their end, because this is strictly coming from how a voter is registered to vote. And of course, though, we can change it on election day during early vote, so, they won't be voting at provisional ballot, they'll be able to vote. So it's, I mean, it'll be pretty straightforward, but it will cause some calls to the county clerk's office. And there was an article in the paper on Monday about this. And I did notice, the county clerk's office had received a couple of more phone calls, asking about the party affiliation, how do I know? That type of thing. So, yeah, but for voters, they will have to fill out, this, part of the voter registration card.
Well, I mean, essentially, if they're calling the county clerk's office, they're not really doing this, right?
They have to physically
Oh, they
fill
will
out a
have to
card
fill it
now.
out.
In the past, the clerk would have been able to change it because we didn't have rules in place about, it was the open primary. So
Yeah.
this is now called a mixed primary. And so, in order to protect the voter and the county clerk's office to have a paper trail.
Mhm.
So, that someone can't say, well, they just went in and changed it
Right.
on their own.
Right.
This provides a paper trail for the county clerk's office and also for our poll workers at the polls. This is, the voters
So-
verifying.
So the county clerk can change it in,
It's called Connect on
On
computer.
but then they will issue this form for the individual to fill out and submit.
Yes, so what will happen is the voter will come in, and so let's say they get to that screen where the drop down is only Democrat and nonpartisan, and they want a Republican ballot, they'll go to the supervisor. The supervisor will hand them this party
Okay.
affiliation change. They fill out only the highlighted
Oh,
portions.
Okay.
Then they will call the county clerk's office. The county clerk will be able to go in and change it immediately. It's the same as when we do address changes. It populates back to the poll book immediately, and then the voter will be eligible to receive a ballot.
Okay, and the supervisor will keep this
Mhm.
piece of paper?
Yes.
Okay, because I was thinking, if somebody takes it home.
No, in fact, our little part of the things we've been
Oh,
working
yeah.
on is there's in here just a completed party affiliation folder.
Okay.
So those, yes, so we will keep all of those, especially county to county transfer, new voter registration, all of those. So we have developed a mechanism to keep track of all of that, so they don't take that with them.
We're now a paperless county, right?
Yeah. Yesterday I printed so much paper, I was like, oh my goodness. So yes, so.
Okay. And keep that under control. Anything else on that?
That's it.
Jim, are you still with us?
I'm here.
Any questions, any thoughts on?
Well, actually, I had one of my doctors came in and I was gone for a little bit. I'm trying to figure out where we are.
We're on the, tab C.
Item.
Tab. Oh, okay. No, I don't think I have any questions right now. I'm kind of wondering about I guess the four election officials handling the duplication of ballots.
Oh,
Maybe I think the powers to be that write law create these rules kind of overdo some things, but I don't know, we'll see.
you've been down that road before.
Oh yeah, they think they're doing something good. They create
Yeah.
just a little bit of a wedge that dams up the process and slows everything down.
But it's the same thing.
But
When it's not counted, how fair is that to that one voter? So I understand the need for the oversight and just the assurance that something's done correctly, so your vote is counted, because I think one vote counted is one too many. So I appreciate that thought too, but I think there's also the other side of it, and it has to be written for 75 counties across the state.
Mm. Okay.
But anyway, we can talk
Yeah.
maybe there's an opportunity to talk about this again later.
Right, well, I'm sure we'll revisit it between now and election day.
You will have an opportunity October 14th.
I'm sorry, say it again. Say it again.
October the 14th, you'll have an opportunity to revisit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
well, you know me, I don't like mandates to do things that aren't necessary.
Right,
So I need to understand why it's necessary. What does it do and don't do any harm? What does it do good and don't do harm?
yeah,
I think that's where, legislators ought to be. Of course, I didn't get elected to be a legislator, so I don't get to play that game.
okay,
As far as this item, ordinance to try to iron out the process, because I think it's gonna be super confusing to voters. They don't understand that you're not asking them how they're affiliated, that you're asking which ballot style, and those words just go over a lot of people's heads. So I know this is gonna cause confusion. I know it's gonna cause frustration for the workers who just have to be like, these are your only choices, please don't be mad at me. I need to go see a supervisor. So I appreciate you trying to iron out like what that looks like, so it's very clear that they're not asking how you're affiliated. And again, I know that there's, small number compared to the whole of the total registered voters. However, I have my own personal thoughts of this. So I think this is, right now, it's targeted towards Democrats. But I think in the future, it's gonna be targeted towards everybody else who is registered independent in a Green Party. So if we can figure this out now, I think later in the future, this is going to be everybody who's not a registered. Just to create that division wedge. I think they're really much saying this. So right now it is targeted at Democrats, but there has been talks about it targeting people who are registered as independent in the Green Party. So this is just the first of many to come, which I feel is very unfortunate.
yeah,
So for our poll workers, the nice thing about the poll book is there's no, like, it's done for them. The poll worker is not having to make any guesses
right,
about what it is. So that does protect our poll workers, that they're not having to read what it is, like it will not give you that option.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
So,
okay, well, let's move on to the city of Greenland. Special election ballot. Or approve the ballot, yes.
So 5A, is the ballot, there's two ballot options. That's the absentee ballot, and then the express vote ballot. I didn't get it in the packets for the public that's here, but I did print the ordinance so you can see. That's the language that is asked to be placed on the ballot. So that is all we have placed on the ballot. The ballot looks very small.
Yeah, it's,
When you look at these ballots, you're like, oh, that doesn't look right.
yeah,
So, and I have already sent to the city for their approval as well. So, but this is the ballot for absentees that would go out, which is the pre-printed. And then, of course, this is what your express vote ballot would look like.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, there's not, I mean, there's, like I said, there's not a lot of discussion on these types of ballot. Now, I will make note on the express vote ballot, if you'll see that the for and the against is centered and not, in the past, we've kind of had it not quite underneath the little box, but more over to the left. This is centered. This is one of the things that the SBE has been kind of pushing for, is to center the names in these boxes, because of that little tiny box at the top that voters try and select.
Yeah.
So the idea is that if we center this, we can say touch the center of the candidate name, or the for or the against. So that way, and so going forward, this is kind of centered it for the voters. We hear every year since they put that little box in there that they're getting rid of that little box. Eventually that little box will go away, but so that's why you wondered why that's centered there. It's the reason.
okay, so we need a motion and, to accept these or to reject them as shown,
Next year, they're approving the ballot,
both ballots,
both ballots.
okay, as presented. Let's see. Oh. Yeah. All in favor? Oh, well, I guess you need a second. I'm a second. I usually leave that to Jim. But, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So move forward.
I'll say aye, but I will, it doesn't count, does it?
We're ignoring you, Jim. Can you tell?
Hey, listen, I probably need a little bit of that to help me.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of got thrown on me that I'm, you know, going to all this trouble to try to be in this meeting and I can't vote, so I'm not.
I know,
sure the
isn't that
purpose.
crazy?
Yeah. So,
Okay. Election.
but I'm for it.
What?
I said I'm for it.
Okay, election commission meetings coming up.
Okay, so obviously we're meeting today, and I've got, Thursday, October the 30th at 9 would be when we certify logic and accuracy in the poll worker notice. And then Tuesday, November 18th, which is election day. I think with the amount of absentee ballots we'll have and everything, it doesn't make sense for the commission to meet any earlier than 7. So I have the commission meeting at 7. If you'll see there in the red, we will not, in the blue,
Oh.
sorry. We have the ability to start canvassing absentee ballots the Tuesday before the election, but this is such a small election. It doesn't make sense for us to do it before then, so we will canvass absentee ballots at 2 o'clock, and that will be us opening, going through the paperwork and everything. We will wait until the commission gets here at 7 before we read those into the machine. Yeah, so we will only be doing the canvassing part. That will be at 2 o'clock. So it won't require a commissioner to watch us because we were not reading anything in. Now this is where we kind of briefly talked about the remakes. For this election, in the event that we didn't have any remakes, I think that we could safely have a commissioner come at 1 to observe us doing the remakes. And then the commission would meet at 2 for the provisional ballot review and the ballot remake tabulation, if that's acceptable to the commission.
Yeah, and all of this is still on video, right?
Yes, we will live stream this, and it's open to the public as well. With this being such a small election, I feel like that time frame will work in that way. It's close enough to the meeting time that a commissioner wouldn't have to be here, and then, of course, you could hang out with us, but there's not like a big time
Right.
gap between the two, so I feel like that's an appropriate thing. And then the provisional ballot hearing and certification will be Monday, December the 1st. For these elections, we have 15 days to certify because of the yes, and so we will not have to meet the Friday after Thanksgiving, which that would have been 10 days. Instead, we'll meet on December the 1st at 9 to do the provisional ballot hearing and certification. I do need to seek clarification. I think the county clerk's office, maybe if they have any Yokava ballots, they have to be open on that Friday to receive mail because they have 10 days. And so I'll work that out with the clerk's office. But for the commission,
That's not
we will meet the first. So if those dates and times are all agreeable to the commission, then I have the notice of election for the commission to sign. And
Sounds good to me.
that's number C. So the notice of election will contain, of course, the early voting, which will be in the county clerk's office. Early voting will not start on the Tuesday before the election because that is a federal holiday, so it will actually start on Wednesday. It will end the Monday before regular office hours, 8 to 4:30. The only polling location that we will have open for this election is in the city of Greenland, the Greenland Community Center. Those voters who are in the annexation area, which is Greenland Township, vote at that polling location anyway, so it's not, so that is their normal polling location as well. And then I have reflected, that's another part of this remake is in our notice of election, putting it out to the public when we're doing remakes and all of that, and so that is reflected, in that canvassing, tabulation, remakes, and certification. And this would be what is published in the paper twice before the election.
Can I get you to change that? LETITIA.
Oh, I have this up my screen.
Okay, okay.
And then I've got on there the QR code too,
Oh, yeah.
that will go to, that will go to our website so that voters can look at the map and look at the ordinance.
Okay. Cool. It's funny how you ignore those things after you see them.
After you see them so many times, but this way it's there,
Yeah.
that, for a voter who sees it in the, is there something we need to change? In the newspaper, and then of course this is posted at the polling location.
Okay. We'll need 2 signatures on this.
Yes.
On that knowledge, we want it to be a
I can change that before, yeah, you guys can sign that and I can change that.
Just to be extra clear.
Yeah.
There's no confusion.
Yeah.
So on this, it just had 8 to 4:30, which I'm assuming means 8 a.m.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
of course, you know,
Yeah.
confusion, maybe consistent.
I will update that.
That's good.
I will file this with the clerk but I will update it before it's published.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Next is, item 6, preferential primary, March 3rd.
So, our ballot draw will be December the 4th. That is the deadline, and quite honestly, that is the quickest we can do it because they do not certify the list of candidates to us until like December the 1st, and then we have train the trainer on the 2nd. So really, the 4th is the best day for us to. My question to the commission is holding it here. We've in the past done it in the home courtroom, but I feel like this is now our office
We need to start permanently addressing people here.
okay, and that's part of the reason I added this to the agenda today to just get clarification when we do start talking about the ballot draw that the intent for the commission is to hold a ballot draw here in this office.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time I know you were still discussing about the stuff outside the doors. When is the proposed time to have that?
So the door possibly sometime
Okay.
The steps,
So definite.
the steps.
All right, Ms. Estes, good morning. Hang on. I just talked, oh, you're on the phone. Well, I'm on,
So, but yes, that is something, but we do have the ADA entrance
Yeah,
if we
yeah,
use the
sure.
ADA entrance, but yes.
I noticed you didn't put a sign out there, the.
Oh, and we
the
can,
thing.
yeah, I can go ahead
Yeah.
and do that, yeah. And in fact, I may get actual like a new, like nice one
Oh.
versus the kind of ratty one that we've
Yeah,
had. for 15
okay.
years. So, yeah, so basically I wanted to confirm with the
Yes.
commission that we are good to hold our meeting here. Because there will be a letter that the commission will need to sign, for both the chairman of the party.
Right.
So before I get that prepared, I'm gonna,
Well, I think I mean, this is my opinion, but I think we need to establish that this is our home. And not be in two
Right.
places.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, ballot layout,
Okay.
item B.
So this is one of the really, really nice advantages of us being a PYO county,
Mhm.
is we have the ability to go in and start working on the primary, even when we don't have any candidates. The thing I want you guys to look at on these ballots is please don't look at the spelling and all of that, because we found some like really bad, it's not the intent.
Now you invite me to do
I know,
so.
and I was like, Renee's gonna find them all. That's not the intent, most of this. That's not the intent of what we're looking at here. So one of the things I want you to notice on this ballot is, this is if we listed this front page, if we listed every unopposed candidate as if they were their own office. That is not our plan. So for the primary, if they are unopposed and they are county-wide, they will go, you'll look on the back page of of the Republican ballot.
Okay.
There's two options for us. Option one is the way the Republican ballot is laid out. And in the past, we did a federal offices, state and county offices. But that gets into some issues with the express vote, when we get into the express vote, and you have to go into the large screen, it doesn't display everything properly, and that would be an ADA kind of issue. So we prefer, and this is new, if you'll see on the Democratic ballot, we prefer, instead of in the past when we have broken it out by federal, state, and county, we will just do one unopposed, it'll be Republican or Democrat, whichever one, but we've been able to put the candidates in this, it's called candidate level text, but I think it's cleaner, it's nicer, and then it'll just be one box that the voters are voting on. And then most importantly, when we get to the express vote, it displays correctly. Now, that is for countywide offices, they will be listed in one big box. But if you are a state senator, a state rep, a JP or a constable, you will still be listed individually, but just following the unopposed box for countywide offices. Because we think it's important when voters vote that they only vote on candidates that they're eligible to vote for. Because for the primary, in theory, I could put every single unopposed candidate, even all JPs, all constables, all state rep, in one big box. But we've not ever done it that way, and we don't prefer to do it. We want voters to see exactly who they're gonna vote for, who they're eligible to vote for, so that when you get to the general election, it is consistent. So this is the Democratic ballot that you see is the path that we think. And it is different than what we've done in the past. It's one of the reasons why I'm bringing it to you now, so that when we get into like the candidate filing and all that, we're not gonna kind of like look at this kind of stuff. And then if you'll see the way it translates into the express vote ballot, you'll see that it's cleaner looking too when you get to the express vote ballot. So the Republican ballot, you'll see that they're just kind of there floating. But when you look at the Democratic ballot, and this was the easiest way for you guys to get real examples, was to choose one party and the other party do it the opposite way. You'll see that it's cleaner looking when you look at the Democratic ballot, the way that it's laid out.
Spacing on,
I was gonna with that. So
okay,
on the nonpartisan where the box is so big, the reason it's like that is because on the express vote, when you use a large text, it doesn't put everything in.
oh.
So,
It cuts off half of my words.
so what we noticed when, so during the general election of 2024, this was one area where they don't talk about grouping and they don't talk about, and you're assuming that when you go into the large text, that it all translates. And 99.9% of it translated properly, except for the unopposed candidate box. And it didn't display everything properly. So I was like, okay, we're gonna have to fix that.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and we ran into that problem with the Greenland election too, when
Oh,
we
is that
went. That's why that's one of the reasons the Greenland ballot is laid out the way it is.
Mm.
Because that enlarged text on the express vote doesn't display everything properly. So that's why that box is bigger.
Yeah.
That's why it looks a little different.
Right.
But we feel that it's important when we're looking at our ADA side of it, that it displays everything properly. And so it has been, I don't know how many times Lacey has regenerated.
And there's a lot on this ballot.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Is there any possibility that you can put unopposed on one line and federal offices on the
So
other
if
and
you'll-
vote for one?
If you'll notice, that's for the Republican one, that's not
Oh,
gonna be the
it's-
one we're gonna do.
Okay,
We're gonna do the Democratic one where. it's
oh, yeah,
unopposed
okay,
Democratic
oh, I like
offices.
that, yeah.
Yes, so this was the way we've done it in previous years,
Mhm.
the Republican stuff,
Mhm.
but when we started having issues with it
Yeah.
not displaying correctly, I was like, there has to be a solution, there has to be a way. So that's when we laid it out. This
Okay,
candidate looked at
gotcha.
it.
I still can, if you prefer, after unopposed, I can add a new line there and bring Democratic candidates down.
Which page are you on?
I'm on this one.
For the,
Page 3 of 3?
Yes.
Okay,
At the top where it says for all unopposed Democratic candidates. I could bring
Oh,
Democratic candidates down if that's what you're talking.
no, I was basically talking about the shaded area,
Oh, okay.
and you've got it done
Yes.
right there.
Okay,
But you don't have it down here on the vote for all.
no, okay.
Just to set apart that this is the
Oh, yes,
unopposed
yes.
candidates. If that's
Absolutely.
possible,
Yes, I will add a new line on that one as
Okay.
well. Yes.
so, but this
And then-
is, so essentially what you would see on this page, if we're looking at the 3 of 3 on the Democratic ballot, is this will be all unopposed countywide offices. And then following that would be the individual box for a state senator, a state rep, state or JP and a constable, and then it would follow with the unopposed nonpartisan offices. Now, unopposed nonpartisan offices, their names are not required to be placed on the ballot, nor are the school candidates to place them. The school candidates, we can't. The language says shall not be placed on the ballot. So to keep it consistent, don't display the judicial ones either. And so that way, that's why that language is there that you see. Now, what we did for the general, and we can do this for the primary, is we have like on the side of the express vote, a little like, hey, reminder kind of thing. We can put the QR code that goes straight to our notice of election, and they can see all the unopposed candidates that might not be listed here, nonpartisan. Although the way the nonpartisan is laying out for judicials, every judicial race is contested.
Yeah.
So that may not even be an
Oh,
issue,
yeah.
and it may just be the
Yeah.
school candidates. But they may not, maybe one or two,
Yeah.
but it seems like so. But this is our preferred, we hope that you like that too. Because-
I've got a question about it. Given that you've got equal lines on these unopposed, unnamed candidates, is this gonna confuse the voter? I need to press each line, or is there a way that, I mean, even though there's the little box over there, is there a way that that can be, I don't know, highlighted or something?
Yes,
Or,
maybe, I'll have to look, but yeah, I think. Are you gonna see how it looks on there?
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Cause it may depend on.
What place on is that?
This
Whoa.
is the Democratic, is 582 Prairie Grove Township, 233 is the, 223 is.
So we looked at that too,
Mhm.
but,
Doesn't I used to like those boxes?
Democrat,
Yes, this,
okay. We looked at that too, but we think that the trade-off of the clean layout,
Mhm.
if you'll see here, I think it's pretty obvious that this is the only one you're voting on.
you might.
But once you get names there, I'm thinking somebody's
may-
gonna go, I don't wanna vote for that person, I'll vote for the other.
Okay, they do that all the
You
time.
can't, okay,
That, we hear
it's
that.
not a choice.
Yes, we hear that, we hear that complaint, that's part of. We have gotten to the point where all unopposed candidates didn't have to be on the ballot. And then the
What a
opposed
nice
candidates
feeling.
just like that, so then we had to go back. And that's why you hear the complaint, because people will say like, well, I like this person, but I don't like this person, and they don't. If that, then you can just leave that blank, but
You don't have to vote.
you don't have to vote.
Okay,
If I take the lines out, though, you lose.
yeah, I wanna
You
see what
can't
the
take
lines,
these-
oh,
You
you
can't
can't.
take these lines out.
Oh.
But if I was to redo this, like the other ballot,
Mhm.
you lose all of this in the large text.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
so,
will.
really, wow,
Yeah, that's an issue we've been running into.
okay,
But, and we've also, you'll notice too, see how this screen is laid out
yeah,
like this? We deliberately laid this screen out this way, because one thing we did notice is that the candidates, when they were in the smaller one, kind of wrapped around, and then we did feel like voters would be like, well, these two
Yeah,
people just kind
yeah.
of hanging out at the top, and we're like, so we pull this all the way out, and then you'll see that this box is rather big here, but when you go into the text, and we're not able to screenshot the
oh,
that's part of the PY, that's part of the programming. We're not able to see this large text to actually put it on, I'm not able to make. Yeah, and so the only thing we can do is just kind of.
yeah,
So this moves everything to one,
oh, which we don't need. to do.
well, or for someone who needs to be able to see it,
Yeah,
but that's one candidate, yeah, it's.
I'll be here all day.
Yes.
Okay, all right, well, I was just curious,
We thought of that as well, but we do think the trade-off.
Yeah.
Is, and we do hear that every election.
I
That
figured
they,
that,
that
yeah,
they don't wanna vote for all of those.
Yeah.
See how this Prairie Road, how it does display everything you have to.
oh, yeah,
So then this becomes. All, that's the best, and they may try and vote, but when they do.
Okay,
It doesn't do.
sure.
And
You're gonna get questions, well, that person wouldn't let me vote for her.
Right.
It makes sense.
And it may. This now displays everything by doing that box.
Oh, good.
So
Okay.
that's why that was way,
Okay,
so yeah.
all right. Any other questions, any comments?
Lot, but if you don't have to make a decision on it today, so I want time to review it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, what kind of questions do you have?
I understand why school board candidates don't, the names don't have to be correct, but I think there's so much issue. Well, I think Washington County has so many contested judicial races and nonpartisan races, I would still like to see it, even if they're on the text. That's just my personal preference.
So you would like, so if we have unopposed, so then Lacey will make note of that. If we have any unopposed, and the commission can fully decide on that, but for us to go ahead and pre-correct that, we will do an unopposed nonpartisan judicial box and then an unopposed school box. Now, the school box will not ever display any names in it. But the unopposed nonpartisan judicial will. And the only reason we've not ever done it is because each type of race is treated completely different. And so, but we can definitely lay it out to where the judicial unopposed candidates are listed, but we cannot do the school candidates.
They would still be all nonpartisan,
So,
unopposed.
Well-
I mean, that would be the only option that we have, right?
so what we would do, yes, so we would add a box that's similar to the Democratic offices where we
Yeah.
would list the so this would change from nonpartisan offices to unopposed nonpartisan judicial
Oh,
offices. Then we would be able to list the candidates by name that are unopposed. Then the next box that we would add would be unopposed nonpartisan, or actually, we could name it unopposed, school board. Or we can, yeah, and then it would have that language that, full election shall be declared
Mhm.
and certified elected without the necessity of including those things on the ballot. So we can include that, yeah, so we can get that correct, so you can see what that would.
Okay.
And then obviously there'll be more discussion about it. I just wanted to see how that looks.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because there's so many right now.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I asked, like, what were you thinking of, because I was like, then we will know, yeah, or will software allow, that's.
Okay.
Yes, so when I printed that ballot out, that's how many lines are on it. Thought that we had two contests. If every single race is contested, we may have to go to 17-inch ballot.
How could you have any reasons? Yeah, okay. How
So-
much do they cost?
We would have to invest in enough for the whole election, so it would be 10 cents a piece of ballot, so yeah, so it would be an investment. So that's one of the reasons we've always stuck with 14-inch. It's consistency, we always have it on stock. Benton County also does 14-inch, so if for some reason
Yeah.
I mean, that's right, because you can't just go to Office Depot.
And CSDS tell you, I mean, you just get a warning on it
So,
or what?
but that's one of the reasons.
It doesn't tell you what the warning is.
It took me a while to figure out what the warning was. I kept thinking, okay, why are we getting this warning? That's what it is. So one of the reasons we're pre-prepping.
Yeah.
We're pre-planning and kind of looking at all of this to know, but I think we're gonna be okay. The odds of every single office being contested is pretty slim.
Right.
I mean, that's just typically especially for the primary. So, yeah. And then when we get to the general election, we won't have nonpartisan races on there, you won't have school board races on there, and unopposed county offices do not go on there. So yeah, so it'll work itself out, so.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Democracy in action. Okay, any other questions on this? Moving on to our, let's see, did we get election day sites? Did we, no.
No, we're at, yeah, item C.
Okay, early vote sites and dates, and we're not quite.
We are
ready.
not, no, and especially with Jim being here, really, the only discussion for this we are going out to Springdale Senior Center today to look at it as a location. And Springdale Public Library is still, construction's not done, so we don't have a definitive answer there. And then, so really, this isn't much, especially I don't wanna have a big discussion without Jim here, and I don't think it's fair for the public either. So this is just kind of for your viewing pleasure to
Reflection.
read at home, yes.
Late night reading before
Yes.
going to bed.
So, And we, you know, we have a couple more meetings before we have to
What's our
decide.
deadline?
Yes, so yeah.
What's our deadline?
So our deadline is January the 2nd, but no.
Well, no,
Not,
but
but yeah, yeah. So I would like us to have a decision sometime middle of November, because then that, you know,
sure,
so yeah, so we still have time, so yes,
that's plenty of time.
yes, but not January the 2nd.
So, you know, I think it's consideration, time, parking, flexibility.
And availability.
Yeah,
They want us.
availability.
That's always a thing too, is, you know, who's willing to host us and all of that. So we will be going there, and reaching out to them. So, yeah.
It'll be interesting just to see how their facilities might enable us to be there.
Yeah, and you don't know until you get in
Right.
there, and you don't know how busy they are. They may have everything already, you know, so, but we are planning a field trip this afternoon. There, so, yeah.
Excited for them. Okay, election day sites, we don't really need to.
We don't, the only big red flag on this one is, our polling location out on Mount Comfort, has asked to not be open for election day.
Just for election day?
They're not an early vote site,
Okay,
so yeah.
okay.
So we are actively looking for a location out there. So, yeah.
You're gonna have to build something.
I would love to see, yes, who can construct something on that side of town that's and so, yes, yeah, that's done before February.
Well, it's not gonna happen. What are we gonna do then?
We are actively looking. There are 3 possible churches out that way. There's no community.
Yeah,
anything
and I
out
would
that
think
way.
there's not gonna be any out there.
No, there's one church that is located, right when you get on Mount Comfort, at the light. It's kind of off of Dean Solomon.
Oh,
It has parking, but the facility's not that big. And I have reached out to this church, but the access in and out is great and the parking is good. Then there's another church that we were in previously when we had moved out of Mount Comfort for a while. I don't know if they're available, but the parking was always an issue there because of the in and out of it, and people would drive in the grass and park in the grass. And they told their yard. Then
and are
there's,
welcome.
yes, and then there's another location, but it is right inside the city of Fayetteville limits, but it is almost, it's past Double Springs. It is almost to Wheeler.
Is that Black Rock?
Yeah, I'm not sure
Or
where.
it used to be?
Yeah,
Black Rock?
yeah, I think,
Okay.
yeah. So, but we'll take them all down.
Yeah.
And figure out what our best, well, and see who wants us,
Right,
you know?
right.
It is really, important for us to find a location out that way because there are over 7,000 registered voters in that area. And it is just growing.
Yeah.
Now, granted, most of those voters vote early, and we've tended to only have 500 or 600 on election day, so that definitely is a plus. But with the rate that area is growing, we really need something, and we would like it on that side of the interstate. So,
Yeah.
so, but that's something we'll have to come back to.
Okay.
So, yeah, and track down.
Well, again, the election day sites, we don't really need to.
Other than noting that,
Put it on our radar that we need to
Yeah,
figure something out.
you know, there's someone who has a church on Mount Comfort Road and would love to host it as a polling location. Have them reach out to our office. So,
And it
yeah.
can't be a business, right?
No, it could be a business, if the business, I mean, if we needed to look into it, there's those new, car lots there, but would they have space for us, would they want us, I don't know. but yeah, there's just, it's mostly housing out that way. You know, and so, I even had the thought of, you know, the next, exit down, there's that big huge cross church, which is building out that campus. Maybe we do a mega site with Covenant and that, or, you know, push Weddington voters there and Mount Comfort voters there. But I don't know, you know, ideally we want something on Mount Comfort. The question is, can we get something, someone, you know? And we run into the issue of it's a great inside spot, but there's no parking, or, you know,
Yeah.
it has plenty of parking, but the inside's not big enough, you know, there's, it's kind of like.
Or it's being used on certain days.
Exactly, so, yeah, so,
Okay.
it definitely is something, to look at, but, yeah.
Okay,
So.
all right, well, I'm sure we'll do more discussion about that. Commissioner election dates.
So this is for the primary and for the runoff. One of the things that we are doing obviously is trying to pre-prep as much as we can. Because when we get to, the primary, and the primary runoff, there's only a short amount of time in between. So, October the 14th, of course, is commissioner training, we've discussed that. Our next commission meeting is October the 30th, that, we will come back to this discussion of early vote and election day sites. I also plan on having the letter for the, party chairs for the commission to sign. And then November the 13th, this is a new meeting I've added to, maybe a new meeting, it may have been on here, but we review the candidate filings. They, that lets us know exactly what our ballot is going to look like. We won't do the ballot draw yet, but it lets us know how many unopposed races we have and all of that. So hopefully by October the 30th, we can have a clear picture of every early vote location and election day site that is available and willing to host us. And then we can make a decision by November the 13th on those things. The ballot draw will be, December the 4th. Ballot approval will be December the 11th. And then, logic and accuracy certification, poll worker notice, February the 5th. Election night is March 3rd. And then once again on March 4th, which is the Wednesday after, that will be the ballot remake, but we won't have a commission meeting that day, I don't think. And the reason I don't think is because we'll be remaking all of those ballots, but we also will have provisionals that need to be worked out, and the county clerk has to have time to do that. But I will need to have a commissioner available on the 4th, and then we would meet on the 5th for the provisional ballot review and ballot tabulation of any of those ballots that we had to remake.
Okay.
So technically, for the primary, we would not have a full accounting of ballots that are eligible to be counted and ballots that are included in the results until Thursday, March 3rd. Part of the remake rules does require us to have that done by, I think, the Monday following the election. So we're well within,
Okay. Yeah.
well within the requirement, but that is something for candidates and the public to know that it will not be until Thursday. It will be one full day after the election before we have actual new tabulation numbers for the public. And then, Thursday, March 12th, we do the provisional ballot hearing. And then Friday, March 13th will be the certification. And then of course, run into the runoff. We have 3 candidates that have declared for Secretary of State. We now have 3 candidates that have declared for county judge. One of those races most likely will put us into a runoff election. So that highlighted for Thursday, April the 9th at 9, that would be our provisional ballot hearing. And so we'll pre-prep letters to go with our steps, so, so please put that on the calendar, that date, but yeah.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, thanks for lining this out, and keeping us on track, because
Yeah.
it's a lot to make sure that we're in compliance with what we thought, so I appreciate that.
Okay, Jim?
Guys, I have been released from the hospital, so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to pack up and leave.
Okay. You want to stick around? for
Been
the
there since,
budget?
been here since Friday, huh?
What?
I said I've been here since Friday.
Oh, okay. You want to stick around for the budget?
I don't really, if I don't have to, I'd like to.
Well, that's up to you.
Oh,
We don't need him to be here if you want. Let's do this quick.
Okay, yeah, so the budget is in the budget process, so this is the same budget that I presented to the commission. At our June meeting, the, county judge had met with our office and approved it as presented, so, you know, and then it will go through its
Okay.
process. And then I did include our remaining budget for 2025. And so we're in good shape with our remaining budget. I still need to purchase shelving for this back area to go along that wall. That'll be about $3,000. And because the primary was moved up, we've been purchasing things that we normally could have waited until January to purchase. But so I've been trying to obviously make sure I stay within my budget. But we're good. Those areas where you see that it looks like I'm negative, I still have some money for it, you know,
Okay.
and you just have to go in and do a transfer. So, but we are in good shape with the remaining of our budget for the rest of the year.
And we're okay for, all the supplies that you need.
So yes, the last big purchase will be the shelves that will go in that interior part. I do need more tables for training and chairs. I am going to, the shelving is paramount for us to get, so that way we can get that set up and done, and that takes bringing in people to help us with that. The tables and chairs is something that if I have to wait until January 1st, I could wait. But since we will be doing training here, we will need more, so I'm gonna play that by ear on that part.
Did you ever get didn't know about the extension cords?
So we have not, but that will be an active discussion October 6th through the 11th.
Oh, I guess
So, so yes, so, you know, and I don't know if it's gonna take a legislative change or if we can, you know, just get a directive that says it's okay to measure between. So that definitely is something that we'll look at, but in the meantime, our plan is to do the 6 feet, you know, and that may be that we have a few less machines in some of our voting locations because we want to make sure we're in compliance. So, yeah. So,
Keep on that.
yes.
Okay, all right, let's move on to item 8, Secretary of State training for online.
So, this is not us doing anything, but when the Secretary of State's office was here for that August 21st meeting, Spencer asked if we would host and just reserve a room.
Okay.
Basically, we're not doing anything. But this is new for candidates at the local level. This is county level, municipal, school. They now have to file online and they will be, or their financials online and not paper, and do it through the county clerk's office. So the Secretary of State is hosting basically sessions across the state to train basically. And it'll be September the 24th and 25th. Each session is designed, it's not drop in. So like it will start at 12 and go to 1. Start at 1 and go to 2. So, but it is open for any it is all of Northwest Arkansas, so it's like the 10 counties there, so I don't know how many individuals will come, but if you are a candidate running for office, even if you're gonna be a municipal candidate, this is a good opportunity if you
Yeah.
have any questions about how the online filing will work.
Yeah, this isn't gonna have anything to do specifically with our office.
No, it is not. We just simply were asked by the Secretary of State's office to arrange
Yeah,
the ability for them to be here. We'll probably hang out with them just as hosts to make
Yeah.
sure they have everything that they need. I do know that Becky and someone from her office is gonna kind of sit through it too, because they'll get questions from candidates running, and this way they would be able to answer those. But yeah, this has nothing to do with our office, other than us just providing.
okay. And there, I assume that they will publicize this. We're not responsible for
No,
publicizing.
from what I understand, they have sent it out to all the county clerks. I don't know if I've seen it on their website, and I don't know if I've seen it on their Facebook page. But, I know that Becky has sent this to both political parties, just kind of as an FYI.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that they're doing it in the courthouse because it gives them used to that office, and then Becky's office is right upstairs, so that there's a question be there, but it's nice just to have it all in one area. And then they can do the courthouse, with you can probably go, site, registration, all the back there.
Yeah.
All right.
One stop shop.
Jim, you got any comments on that, or are you gone? All right, he's gone. Okay, well, he didn't give me a chance to, ask if he has any other business. Do you have any other business? Okay,
I have,
yes,
is other business public comment?
yeah,
Okay, okay. I just want to be clear about what we were talking about, the financial disclosure. Jennifer, is that just going to be for what financial institutions we have? It's not going to be like we can file our expense reports online?
No, I think it's all of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they passed a new law that requires everything to be filed online now and not filling out
Well,
Yeah,
that would be
paper.
great
Yeah.
because, handwriting and everything. Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that because that's great.
yeah, and the other part of it is it's not done through the county clerk's office. It's through the Secretary of State's portal. And so that's why the Secretary of State is offering these training sessions for candidates to come, so that they can learn the ins and outs of it.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Because then that means that they'll be online.
Mhm, yeah,
Okay,
that's the idea.
okay.
So, and it also, it adds addition to the Secretary of State's office and having to maintain that portal and keep everything online, that it takes the burden off of the county clerk from having to, because you're talking school board candidates, municipal candidates, all of that. So it really relieves the county clerk's office of having to maintain those records and puts it all in the Secretary of State.
And they're in a big folder like
Yes.
this that you have to sort
Yeah.
through. Okay, well, that's great.
Yep.
Thank you. I just want to be clear.
all right, any other